Considering recent history, you could probably understand why Michigan is so motivated to knock down Sparty and take back Paulie Bunyan this Saturday. Great time to subscribe to the channel. Big Ten content every single day, and always crush that like button. Jim Harbaugh is 0-2 versus Mel Tucker. Michigan State has taken 4 of the last 7 meetings against Wolverines led by Jim Harbaugh. So you could understand, I think, why Michigan is going to be laser focused, why there's not going to be a letdown here this Saturday. And really, Michigan is the superior team coming in. Look, you put the motivation aside, you compare these two teams side by side, and boy, and I usually look around and I'm like, well, if this happens, that could happen. This happens. You know, I try to connect these puzzle pieces to see maybe this team could pull the upset here, but I just don't see it. I don't see it happening. Michigan State has been banged up on defense this season. Now they got Xavier Henderson back. They got Jacob Slade back for the Wisconsin game, and that's good, but there still looks like Chris Bogle and Jeff Petrowski, those defensive ends, are not going to be available for this Michigan game. Really what Michigan State has on defense is Jacoby Windman. Right now he's second in the Big Ten in sacks, first in the Big Ten in tackles for loss. He's lived in the backfield, and I think that has kept Michigan State around in some of these football games, but you're going up against one of the best offensive lines in the entire country. I just don't think Jacoby Windman is going to do that. You give Michigan an extra week coming off a bye week to prepare for what Jacoby could have in store, and you got to think Michigan's like, all right, we take Jacoby Windman out, we'll be just fine. We'll be able to run through whatever lanes we want to run through. We'll have all kinds of time to throw the very few times we choose to throw the football, because this is an offense that's physical. This is an offense that wants to run the football. That's their identity. That's maize and blue ball. That is how the Michigan Wolverines play the game. Okay, earlier in the season, Blake Corum, great running back. I put a video out, said he's the best running back in the Big Ten. And now you add in a fully healthy Donovan Edwards to the running game? Forget about it, as they say. Look, offensive line, 2 great running backs. Sound familiar? Yeah, it's a lot like last year when Hassan Haskins and Blake Corum were running wild all over the Big Ten Conference. It's really hard to imagine Michigan State doing much of anything up front against the Michigan Wolverines, and that's what you need to do against Michigan. You know they want to run the ball. You know they want to impose their will up front. Okay, you look at this, all those games last season. You look at the Ohio State game, how physical they were, how well they ran the football against, at the time, which was considered a softer Ohio State defense. Look, then you go in the playoff and you go up against the hard-nosed, really good Georgia defense, and what happened is what happened. Okay, this is, you gotta try to slow down Michigan. But, I mean, I look all around at this Michigan State defense and I don't see it. I can't see a way. Look, Penn State's defense is a much better defense statistically than what Michigan State is trotting out there. And they're much more healthy than what Michigan State is trotting out there. And look what Michigan did to Penn State in the same venue where they're going to play the Michigan State Spartans. Look, I just don't see it. I'm usually a pretty optimistic guy. I try to put the puzzle pieces together. Well, if this happened, then this can happen. If that happens, then that can happen. I just don't see it right now for Michigan State. Look, Michigan State is double digits. You know, when you're playing in the Big Ten Conference and you're below number 10 in the Big Ten, that usually is not a good sign that your defense is doing things that they should. Michigan State right now 11th in the Big Ten in rushing defense. Let's move on to the other side of the football. Everybody was talking about offseason. How on earth is Michigan going to replace Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo in that pass rush? I'll tell you how. Mike Morris, top 5 in the Big Ten in sacks right now, and a bunch of other guys, because the Michigan pass rush, the Michigan Wolverines, first, sitting atop the Big Ten in sacks right now. This is a defense that continues to get better each and every single week in that pass rush. This is a defense that is still really, really good. Okay, and that's what makes this Michigan team scary, because I think a lot of people in the season thought, well, they might not be as good on defense, but they're going to be better on offense. They might have more of a passing game a little bit this year. No, that defense is still really, really good. That offense is better. I really believe in my heart of hearts, this is a better Michigan team than we saw a year ago. look, I know how good Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo were, but I think they're better on offense, and they're still really solid on the defensive side of the football. Look, if Michigan State wants to do anything and they want to try to slow down, Jacoby Windman's their guy right now. He's second in the Big Ten in sacks, first in tackles for loss, but it's hard for me to imagine him doing much of anything, especially coming off of a bye week. You got to think Michigan knows what they're going up against with Jacoby Windman and saying, hey, if we take him out of this game, we're going to have lanes to run through. We're going to have all time to throw the football the very few times we choose to throw the football. Okay? That's kind of how it works right now. Look, Michigan State, it's been well documented, their struggles running the football in Big Ten play. I think that continues. It's not a bad offensive line, but it's not a good offensive line. It's somewhere in the middle right now. It's hard for me, and when you can't run the ball, we've seen this before. They're a lot like Penn State in this respect. When Michigan State can't run the ball, Peyton Thorne has had struggles. And this is a improved Michigan secondary from a year ago. I think they're going to match up just fine against a guy like Jaden Reed. Going to match up a lot better than I think Wisconsin did in that last game. I want to hear what you guys think of this matchup. It seems like Michigan is going to out-physical and just pound it down Michigan State's throat and run the ball out. We could have a quick game and be home by 9:30, 10 o'clock. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below about this matchup between the Spartans and the Wolverines. Are the Wolverines going to trip up? You think Sparty's got a shot, or is this going to be business as usual for the Michigan Wolverines? Once again, leave your thoughts, predictions, comment below. Make sure you subscribe to Big Ten Ted. I'm Big Ten Ted, and we'll see you in the next one.